having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
It will not be for sale ever. Welcome everyone to the Truth Table. I'm Paul Everton, the host here. This is episode 90, perhaps the final show. It might not be. Depends on StreamYard. If they offer me a week for $1, I will be back. But, this show isn't a career. This show isn't about me. It is about the truth. And the truth is very difficult because there are people that we trust that have been lied to, and they're spreading that lie unknowingly. They're doing it innocently. They're doing it by faith, the faith in the science, or faith in, the parent. And, that's where it's very difficult when it comes to the Truth Table. My mission really was to get at the things and talk about the things and get some answers, and from the people that have been injured, that have been harmed, and that have witnesses, whistleblowers. And I really have completed my mission, completely black-pilled, unfortunately. I don't see remedy. It's very sad for me because I met the most amazing people in the last 5 years. And my guests tonight are two of those people. One, both abused. One did it and one didn't do it. And no matter what you do, you suffered from if you didn't do that thing that they wanted everyone to do. To me, this is like the wrap up Truth Table, wrapping it all together. And my conclusions basically are not good. I mean, it's not a good thing. We really have no judges, and even the police. I mean, now the RCMP puts out that traditional values are extreme. How insane can it possibly get? I mean, I'm a rational person as far as I'm concerned. No one's told me that I'm irrational, and I consider myself rational, and I can relate to rational people. And I've met a lot of rational people, a lot of victims of the system, that we should really have checks and balances along the way. There, people should be fired when they, with Kirk Reese, people should have been fired. And that's that. End of conversation. It's done. If a injection kills or injured someone, it's no longer safe, and it should be a crime to be even considered safe. And we don't have these checks and balances where it really matters, like sacred bodily autonomy. That is the most valuable thing that you have. And to alter your food and your water and add things to the water is really all criminal. It is a crime. Nobody prepares a meal for their family with poison and toxins and mercury. It just doesn't happen. It's not normal. So what's happened to us is a crime of the century, starting out 2020, and still continues. And my friend and my guest, Tanya, gave me the opportunity to have her on the show tonight and talk about her story and where she is at today. She's a nurse, and it takes a really to get into nursing. I mean, you really have to care about other people, for one, to even want to go in there, because there are situations that nobody really wants to, change diapers on an old person, or there's situations that occur. I know they have different people for doing those sort of things, but still that whole situation, the potential, the danger that could happen if someone really sick with some kind of spreadable virus or something. I mean, there's always a risk in that profession. So, to me, like the army, Salgave and Kirk, these are honorable people doing honorable things for you, but they've still weren't able to get remedy to resolve the problem. And that to me is very heartbreaking. Thank you, Tanya, for coming on the show and joining me at the Truth Table. I had my little rant there, but let everyone know about your situation, and because you did fight against getting it, and you still ended up getting it.
Can you hear me? Am I too loud or?
Nope, perfect.
All right. So you're right. I feel horrific. Like I was saying to you, and thank you so much for having me on once, and now maybe your last episode. I understand. I'm at that point too. I'm kind of like, my hands are sweaty. I'm tired. I just want to live and live those best last days. Are we prepared for what's coming? I mean, I'm sure it's not going to get better. I'm not everyone's like, don't manifest. I didn't manifest this. That's for sure.
No.
No. And I'm going to keep fighting. It's not even a fight. It's a survival every day. And I don't think, I'm at a different point now. You're such a sweet man. And I know we haven't talked recently. I've been very, very, very sick, in and out of hospital again. And you know what? You couldn't win. I'll be honest with you. I told my neighbor next door. She's also a single mom of 2, just like myself. And so many times, I wish she could be in this background telling you how many times the ambulances would show up. And she's like, what is your main points, Tanya? And I said, I don't even know what my main points are after 4.5 years of hell. How do you describe hell in 4.5 years? The torture, the suffering, the surviving, but still trying to be a nurse who lost her job because she got so poisoned and then gaslit. And I hate the word gaslight. I'm sorry, to this day, these doctors still will not acknowledge in Canada. I also work for the RCMP, by the way. It's very interesting you brought that up. Who do we trust? Who do we trust? The RCMP went to the government. I'm just going to go offline for 1 second, and confirmed in a conference we have 2,000 separate organizations in our country that are terrorists. Of course, Donald Trump wants to. I'm not going into the American Canadian. I'm sorry, I don't want to go there. But yeah, you're not afraid of our military, but you probably should be afraid of what our government did to us. And that comes full circle in my mind to them forcing us at an 89% rate of vaccination for Canadians at that time. But the migrants, not the immigrants, the illegal migrants did not have to be vaccinated. And they've, even this year, I don't know what the exact stat is to this date now, because it just keeps adding and adding. But in the last 6 months, do you know what the number is? Like, it's like 600,000 more in the last 6 months. They don't need, So they're putting these regulations on tax-paying, hardworking Canadians who've been here forever. It's not because I'm white. It's not because I'm black. It goes to everybody. This is a planned, as we know, and I know way too much now from researching, and I don't know too much, right, at the same time. And to the point, your word, trust. That was really, I'm going to have I'm sorry, I'm talking, but trust. I go into the X spaces. That's where you found me. It's where I found you. It's where I found a lot of the best people I've ever met in my life. Some of the smartest people, the most helpful. Then you have the people who run spaces who call you retards, vaxtards. These people are, quote, doctors or paramedics. I call them out and I get kicked out of the space because I'm sorry, I'm a registered nurse. I still have a license. They haven't killed me yet. And they tried to arrest me, as you know, 4 times so far for talking negatively by saying, I wish that Mr. F would suffer the way I have suffered so he would understand. I didn't say anything illegal. I don't have any weapons. I'm Canadian. I have a butter knife, maybe if I'm allowed to even have that soon.
Or those killer screwdrivers.
Right? It's true. It's like, but you start to see through their stories, these people. And I'm going to go political here because that's where I left some certain communities that are, quote, helping us. They're not. They're just talking in circles. No one's giving us advice. Where are the doctors and the scientists, which are millions around the world, who created this? We know this. This isn't just a one-man band. This is a global entity that did this on purpose. Yet, where are the people that are willing to speak out and say, we're going to help you, Tanya? No, I have to, with other moms who are injured like me, that's who I tend to be working with, I'll be honest. The odd man out, definitely. And I'm going to say women and men, because that's what I believe in. We work day and night tirelessly trying to find cures. So that's where I'm at. After my heart attack, I'm in heart failure now. I have MS. I have brain demyelination. I'm in liver failure. I have avascular necrosis, where your bones literally deteriorate from the bone marrow out. My bones are literally disintegrating. My teeth are disintegrating. Radiation poisoning. You name it, I got it. But I don't have HIV or AIDS. I got tested for that. So just so you know. But when you hear all these people, like I'm sorry, I'll stop in a minute. But when you hear all these scientists and doctors putting these studies out going, we know that it causes AIDS and this and that and the other thing. Who are they studying? Because no one believes in vaccine injuries. But yet they're talking about shedding. How can you prove shedding if you can't even acknowledge a genuine synthetic vaccine injury? Everything is, in my mind, a game. And like I said to you, Russian roulette and Chinese checkers. Yep. They are named that for a reason. That's all I have to say. Thank you. That's not all I have to say.
In Canada, the vaccine injury program, the majority of the money goes to consultants.
Absolutely.
So it's like the healthcare, like more than 55 goes to the administrators. Like more than 50% of what we're paying is just going to people, sitting in desks and have nice, comfortable chairs to sit in and be bossy. But
or play ping pong and drink beer on Fridays, as per that whistleblower recently on Global News. Everybody needs to hear that one. I'm still waiting 4.5 years. There's people like me who are dying with children to raise and feed, and we can't even afford milk. And we had great careers. Some of them didn't have great careers. Some of them didn't even have jobs, and they still have a husband, but they're still fighting. They're still paralyzed. But you know what's really cool? I did this. It's not cool. I did the research on that one right away when the VISP came out, and I was like, I didn't hear about it from a Canadian. I heard about it from an American. I didn't even know there was something, and they don't advertise it in Canada, right? It's totally censored because we're censored for any kind of help. It was one of Trudeau's friends who was an accountant in Quebec who ran that program, CGHPT. I'm going to get the letters wrong. It's an accounting firm in Quebec, which is interesting because VISP is not in Montreal or Quebec. So why would you grant a $60 million contract, a 5-year contract, by the way, to an accountant firm from another province that is the only province in Canada that did not have VISP? Is that not interesting? Yes, it is. And then halfway through the term, when we knew no one was getting paid out, no one's getting any money, no one knew about it, people were losing their coordinators, whatnot. They switched to a company with a letter O. It's not Ozempic's in my head, but it's Oxamic or something. But it's still the same address on Slater Street.
Oxycontin?
it's oh shit. It's
oxymoron.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that's perfect. It's oxymoron. That's what we should call it. So yeah, on Slater Street, and they're still there. And it's in the same place. But how do you sign a 5-year contract for $60 million and then you just switch companies and switch names suddenly 4 years into a 5-year contract? Who's talking about this? No one.
We're dealing with the crime of a century, and you're talking about a splinter of it, like part of the tree, one of the branches that are active. And I feel kind of helpless because even bad people I care about, I don't know why, but I think it's just my faith is so strong that I love my enemy. And I think that's the only way really to get through this is to forgive. Okay, these are the bad people. We identify them. Doesn't mean we turn the other cheek. We need to find remedy. God didn't make us here to be victims, to be martyrs. God gave us a brain, and we're under attack in many ways. Water, food, the air. So they're screaming climate change. Meanwhile they're playing with the climate.
Mhm.
And I've done, did a show on what's in the rainwater and the analysis, and I took every ingredient and I analyzed, what are the effects of, aluminum on the body, and that was the one that was the most. It was over 3,000 parts per million. It was bad, and that was the immune system. So, they're willing to risk. They were willing to risk your life.
Mhm.
And someone's calling me. Oh my goodness.
I would. Okay, you can answer it. I'll say
No,
this.
I'm not going to answer
You
it.
need to. I almost feel they weren't willing to risk. I think they deliberately attacked certain genetics. That is after my research after the last 4.5 years with multiple other really strong research women who are like me, who are just trying to move forward with our children and go, what can we leave them? We're realistic. We're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We're not angry. We're working on now. I was very, very sad the last time you interviewed me, episode 47 or whatever it was. It's extremely depressing being in cell block A. They not only poison you physically, but they put you in an isolation, a reverse isolation where you're like locked in your house alone. You lose all social contact, social etiquette as your body deteriorates, and you're still trying to scream. And I'm so fortunate that I had a voice a little bit, but I do, like, I'm very awkward around people. I used to be very social. I cry a lot. I've never cried in my life. My parents have disowned me because they think I'm crazy. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, which is, yeah, you know what? I was a little bit aggressive because I'm like, you have to be aggressive. I used to fight for my patients, and I wasn't fighting for myself. And then finally, I'm like, screw this. This is wrong. And I kept going no matter what I did. And I came across like you and so many wonderful people who've had my back. I really, honestly, you see a lot of Vaccine Ninja going like, I'm being attacked and I'll be honest. I don't feel like I've been very attacked. I will say my silver lining again. I was not super religious prior. I was Catholic, but that doesn't mean anything. I just care about people. I don't care what religion you are. I didn't care even as a nurse. I just respect your wishes, whatever your religion is. That's what nurses do. And I love being a nurse. I love having a purpose, and I don't get paid. I have no money. I had to take my last of my RSP, which is a 401k plan for someone else, yesterday. I had $5,000 left. That's it. That's all I have left to my name to pay for anything I need. If this VIS program doesn't come through, I'm like going to lose my house. I'm going to lose everything. And I've held on this long. I just need to say that. It's been so hard. I was paralyzed down my left. I've had 2 heart attacks. I'm in heart failure. People don't understand. The heart meds I pay alone, I don't have insurance because I was a manager. So I don't have a union or insurance. I've been doing everything I can to just keep my head above water. I don't feel sorry for myself. What I want to say is I'm going to keep working with these ladies who I trust, which is only a handful, where we look at genetics, we look at cures, we're looking at everything. Right now, I'm looking at this plate, and this is what I want to do share. I don't want to talk about my story. Great. Yeah, PEMF. It's something I'm going to look into.
Now, do you have a give, send, go, or anything like that?
No, I've never, because I feel guilty because I feel like some people abuse it, and I just can't.
I'm not surprised because I'm the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any I never asked for sponsors. I mean, there was a point where I knew that the stream was going to end, and I wasn't going to be able to renew it. But I just know, like, God works. Like, if the money stops, then that was God's will. Is right. And I was raised Catholic like you, so I understand. I think it really prohibited my spiritual growth. If anything, it was a lot of repetition, and it was a lot of violation going on too. When you're praying to Holy Mary, Mother of God, I mean, that's wrong. You're not supposed to do that. Matthew, what was it? Matthew 7, verse 20 to 22. I bet you I got that right, but it says not to do that, not to even pray to Jesus. So even Jesus said that, Matthew 7, 20 to 22. Don't do it. He does not want us to do that. He wants us to hear what he said, though. So the message was correct. There's nothing wrong with the message, but the delivery was everything. And even I went into the Baptist religion, that church. My God, I even joined Scientology for, I was searching everywhere. But I've read the Quran so I could understand Islam and understand that faith. And I also read the Gita, which, is Hinduism. And I thought that was quite a beautiful religion, actually. And it really brought all the others together. But we're dealing with a crime of the century because it was done all across God's green earth.
Yeah.
All the countries went for the same ball. They all ran with the same ball. And it was all harm. It was all harm. But it was also controlled. These injections were under patent. So basically all the people fall under this patent. And they're basically lost their sovereignty, their sacred bodily autonomy. And that is the crime of the century. This is, you were made perfectly. And if you have problems, they were done to you. And we want to be governed with the first commandment being do no harm. First and foremost. Coca-Cola going to natural cane sugar is what I'm talking about. Natural, not 13 letter ingredients that no one would understand and just dismiss as, it must be okay. It's in there. It's allowed. Our trust has been broken in all around the grocery store.
You're 100% right. What's really interesting? And I go down these rabbit holes, as do you, and so many people who actually care, these rabbit holes. I actually bought a pillow with Alice in Wonderland on it in a witch store the other day. I've never been in a witch store in my life. It's kind of creepy, but I didn't know it was what it was because it looked like all sweet and nice until you go to the dark side room and you're like, but that's what I started to tell this woman. And she used to be an RN as well, like myself. And she's like, yeah, I'm a Wiccan. And I'm like, what is that? I don't even know. Right. And I told her, I looked in her eyes and I said, I feel your energy. I feel like, I know I'm going to sound crazy, but this happened to me. And she's like, oh my God. And she gave me this like green stone and this black stone. And I don't believe in all that stuff. But of course I do now because everything's natural is what I see is the natural teas, the holy basil. I'm not giving any medical advice, but the things that I'm looking at, the Japanese and the Chinese friends that I've met who are reaching out to me going, try this tea, try that. Like my name's T, right? So try this tea. Like, I actually believe they actually care. They know a lot, the ancient Chinese medicine. Like you were just talking about religion. I've never even read the full Bible. I have it, but have you ever heard of Baha'i? They believe in all religions. It's a cool religion. I can't hear you, Paul. Your mic's off.
Sorry, I muted myself.
That's okay. It was only a second.
No, I would agree with that because from my conclusions of looking at all of them, I mean Sumerian tablets, the Dead Sea Scrolls, I wanted to know as much as I could. Because I know that this is only a limited situation. The physical, the body situation is limited, and we all have purpose, and so my conclusion is that all religions are like one pizza that was divided.
That's great. I love that.
When the Tower of Babel was separated and language was separated, so was knowledge of the Creator, and that's what I find. Everyone has a little bit of more information, a little bit more scope. Like the Bible has limited information about the devil, and then the Quran adds to that. So I mean, they're all together. They've just been split apart, and the crime with religion is the editing. Because when they carved things in stone, they weren't really lying, I don't think. I trust carved stone before printed paper.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's my approach. And as far as vaccines, that goes back to when I lost my first child, that we talked about in my last show. But I don't want to get into that, but that's where I wanted to look at what the ingredients were. So I looked
That's
at
a
each.
huge part. It is a huge part. People, my son's
As a
vaccine.
guardian, as a
Yes.
guardian, I wanted to know,
Yes.
just like when you're preparing supper,
Mm-hmm.
you don't add mercury. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Oh my
It's
God.
just,
Good
that's
point.
common sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's common. And it's also love. You love people you're serving food to, that you're cooking for. And it's, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I love doing it, you know, preparing something for my friends, or, you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing in life. And the last thing we're going to be doing is adding, you know, these GMO and these corn products. It just wouldn't happen. And
I'm sure mercury, probably, just guessing, doesn't taste very flavorful. I don't know. I've never tried it. But they like to inject it right into your bloodstream. So,
but a lot of this is very deeply scientific, where you use vibrations. It can affect mercury. It can affect graphene. I mean, they have found a way to tap into and hack people's bodies. It's very nefarious. It's very dark science, and it's not media friendly. You won't hear it on the news.
nope.
But it's there, and it's too late. That's why I'm black-pilled. It's already happened. It's already been done. All these people have lost their physical, sacred bodily autonomy. Once you fall under that patent, it's gone. So, I mean, I feel protected that way, but I also feel like I would be a target for not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think God really uses me. I think God really. I don't know why. I really don't consider myself special. And your compliments make me blush. I mean, I would turn red if I wasn't so dark skinned. But
no, that's another thing. You know, Native Indian, Neanderthal. We're looking at the genetics. There's an app called, it's not an app, it's an actual site called Clinvar, CLINVAR. Well, you can find anyone's genetics and see how their genes are changing daily. They can change them. And guess what? You can find out who changed them, when they changed them, what day, which professor in Utah. I'm in Canada. I can see who's doing what. That's how smart some of the people that I work with. I don't even work with them. I have no income. We are so deep diving that we are in so much danger. My girlfriend had her home bombed 2 weeks ago. And I'm not kidding. She's in America. She's not in Canada. But
wow.
We're going down these deep holes trying to go, we want the proof. And like I said to my neighbor, my number one goal is I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want to be a number of how many people died in the Spanish flu in 1917. I don't want to be that number. I don't want to be a number from 9/11 that was also, let's be honest, what it is. I don't want to be a number this time. And that's why I'm fighting. I want to make sure, I don't want to be special. I'm not just like you. I don't feel special. I just tell the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. I tell the truth no matter what. So help me God. I can't tell you the pain I've been through, but I will tell you this. I do believe now, and I have believed for a little while now, it's a silver lining. I do believe maybe God put me through this because I was a rat race executive, high, like what's that called? 6-digit paid, whatever. I don't care about money. When you have no money, you realize money means nothing when you're going to die. So what I want to say is the silver lining, this slowed me down so much and taught me so much. Even though I was like paralyzed and basically I was literally drooling in almost a coma on my couch with my 13-year-old son carrying me up and down the stairs for 2.5 years. That happened. Like my neighbor, like everybody saw it. Like the ones that knew me, they knew I was a high-powered executive. It's not, who gives a shit? At the end of the day, excuse me for swearing, but at the end of the day, I learned more in the last 4 years than I ever learned in medical school, McGill, carving up cadavers, going to Brock University to do teachers college, went to George Brown College to be an RN, became an RN, love it. I'm still, in my heart, will always be an RN. There, no paper, no education, nothing taught me for what this was going to be. And what this did to me was made me come down to a sub level of humanity, because I was brainwashed. I was indoctrinated. And I would let people say to me, "You're not published." No, I was too busy dying and trying to stay alive. I don't have time to be writing papers and looking important. I don't have the time.
Mhm.
And nor do I want to, but it's people like you that give the opportunity to us to speak, that will go somewhere in history. Maybe, I don't know what's going to happen to the world, but if somebody finds this one day, maybe it will be documented that this really happened. And this is real. This is really hard on your heart. I'm on my last heart failure med. It's called ivabradine. It's for complete heart failure, diastolic heart failure. So it starts off at 5 milligrams once a day. Then you go to twice a day. Then you go to 7.5. And then I'm at 7.5 twice a day with my diuretics and my other heart meds, blah, blah. And my 3 cardiologists are like, yep, you might have about 6 months left at this point. So I have 6 months to get to the bottom of how do I leave a legacy for my children or help my children? Because if I'm gone, they don't have a father. They don't have anybody. So what do I do? What do I do for the other children? That's my new, who cares about what happened to me? I care. I know I should publish it. I just don't know how. If someone knew how to help me, I would do that. But it's exhausting being sick and still trying to save the world, which I'm not, but I'm doing with other wonderful women. And if you ever want to do another space, I would introduce you to some of the girls. I've got we work on microscopes. Trust me, it's nonstop, free, like trying to save our children. That's it. And I mean it. Yeah,
I would like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's great, because I have great women, great and good men too. It's just the women obviously women talk a lot, so we could be on the phone for like 10 hours. But we really do. It's not joking around. It's serious stuff. Like we really okay, try this dab of blood, try this basil, try this, and we're seeing how it chases different parasites to the end of the screen on the microscope. Like that's how different it is since I last interviewed with you. That I'm still just as sick. I'm actually sicker, but I have a focus now that keeps me every morning. I wake up and go, where are we going today? Who are we going to, what are we going to try today? And desperate to live. Right. So thank you so much.
Have you tried nattokinase?
Yeah.
Do you still use it?
No.
How about ivermectin?
No. I use artemisinin. In Canada, there's a lot of controversy. I'll be honest, there's a lot of controversy with ivermectin, and they've been playing with it a lot since people are trying right?
No, they put mRNA in it.
Right. Thank you.
Infected it. Yeah, right. I know. It's freaking
sweet.
It's a crime of the century.
It is. They know what they're doing. So what I did one day when I couldn't get ivermectin in Canada, when I finally heard about it years later, obviously, because I wasn't on X, I started moving the chemical borders of ivermectin with different chemical borders, like, the hexagon, the circle, has a line. For anyone who's not scientific. And I found a plasmoid, anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not going to go deep. And I moved it over on a screenshot and it matched ivermectin perfectly. And it was called sweet wormwood, which is artemisinin, artemisinin, artemisinin. And that was invented by Dr. Tu. She's Chinese, Dr. Tu, T-U, and her last name is Y-O-U. So Tu. She is a Nobel Prize winning scientist in China, and it's been around forever, but she won a Nobel Prize long before ivermectin. And it was the only thing I could get in Canada because I couldn't get ivermectin from anyone. Nobody. My doctors laughed at me, wouldn't order it for me. So I had to do that research myself. That's when I started taking it. They told me I was going to die in October of 2023 with both my lungs collapsing. I doubled down as a nurse. Don't ever listen to me because I'm a nurse, so nurses do their own thing. But I was so desperate to live. I doubled down on the dosages, and in 3 days, I didn't sound like bagpipes anymore. I take it now like once a week. I give it to my dog. I give it to my kids just once. Nothing. I don't overdose. I don't like hammer it at them. I don't know what I'm doing, right? Who does? But I also found fucoidan, Fucoidan. Again, not giving medical advice. Everyone needs to do their own research. Fucoidan was used. So when I realized my teeth were disintegrating, like going short, falling apart, my feet are falling apart, like literally the bone that goes like this and then your toes come off of it, it now looks like this. The bone's gone. It's just disintegrating. My bone marrow is disintegrating. So I started looking up because they were talking about fibrin clots, which I also have. And when you put fibrin clots in a Google, it doesn't tell you anything because they already know, we know. So when you put avascular necrosis, right? They already know. They know how to hide everything. But no one expected that I had a bone scan from my fall, from my MS, from the brain injury I got from the shots, the demyelination, 2 brain MRIs, waited a year for one, a year for another. I'm still on a 4-year wait for the POTS clinic. I've had POTS for 4.5 years. I'm going to Toronto, hopefully in a month if I can make it there. If I live, but 4 years to go to a POTS clinic in Canada. Yeah, they want you dead for sure. I'm sorry if I use that word, but it's true. But anyway, they did the x-ray of my foot when I had the spiral fracture, when I fell down the stairs, because my brain doesn't know when my left leg is going to work or not. And I flipped and I fell. It was the middle of the day. And then they did a bone scan and they're like, you have avascular necrosis. Nurse, RN, 26 years. Never heard of that. Never heard of some of the things they're diagnosing me with. D-dimer, never heard of that test. That blood test is a clotting disorder. Well, they did that right away the first time I had my first heart attack, 3 days after, May 4th, 2021. They did it, never told me. My D-dimer was 4,000. It should be a 0. They sent me home with a panic attack. That's true. So what I wanted to say about the avascular necrosis, I looked that up. That's how I found fucoidan. And I started looking at radiation poisoning. I know this is long, but I just need to get this in here if this is your last show. So I start looking into, because I was an RN and I was also an infection control nurse, imagine that. They actually, when they sterilize the equipment at Pfizer, they use a chemical called gamma irradiation that sterilizes the equipment. Well, guess what? That should be managed by the FDA. Guess who overrode the FDA on this? The WHO. I have all the documents. I've posted them on my page many times on X if anyone wants to question it. So FDA got overrode by the WHO. WHO has no audits that I can find, and no one to this day has helped me. I put it out there many times. Please, if anyone knows how they can get these audits, I want to know how much radiation was put in these vials because they weren't cleaned properly. And so can you imagine the gamma irradiation? Guess what gamma irradiation was? Chernobyl and Hiroshima. That's how serious this is. I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry I'm yelling, but it's really serious. It's very important. People are not looking at the radiation poisoning on top of everything else. It's just like this thing that people just don't qualify. It's very serious. So I'm really happy you have Michael Jackson on here tonight because you know what? He's protecting his daughter and there's so much evidence that he did the right thing. Just like Helen Grew, the police officer that worked for Children's Aid Society, trying to help the families and the babies. And she's still, there's so many people and we're just so censored. Sorry if I went on a tangent there. If you're still there. Maybe you're hooking up Michael now because I think it's his turn.
No, I'm sorry. I had a emergency. And I had to scoot away, but I'm scooted right back. I could still hear you, but I am back. And also, Michael is here with us. Thank you, Michael, for coming. Michael is trying to protect his daughter. And he faced the threat of having his daughter go through what our guest here has gone through, and he was trying to protect her from that. So that challenge in particular was parental rights, sacred bodily autonomy, the right of the guardian and guardianship, and that part of the Canadian conspiracy, the crime of the century. Thank you for coming, Michael. It's nice to have you back.
Hello, thank you. Yeah, I had a hard time there. At first, I thought it was 7 or 9 o'clock my time, and then like 10 to 7, I heard this voice in my head. Obviously, God saying, "No, it's right now." So I ran up, but I didn't have the link, so it took, and I didn't have an account with Rumble. I actually had to sign in a Rumble, make an account, just so I could message you.
Oh man. Yeah,
no
I'm on.
worries.
That's just the one that I put on X, but I'm on YouTube as well and Facebook.
Yeah. I was messaging both of you your phones, but you're probably not watching your phones.
No, I did get a phone call,
Oh,
but it goes right on the computer, so I can't.
I see. Yeah,
Wasn't able. We'd all started, but I knew it was going to work out. I wasn't going to give up on you.
I'm
and
here.
You haven't given up either.
No.
And neither has Tanya. But maybe we could just do a summary of where you've been and where you are today, and then we can elaborate at that point. I'll let you.
In 2021, I took my daughter, or I had my daughter at my house for a week over Remembrance Day, and I had been trying to contact her mother. We're divorced for almost 9 months to get her to give me some sort of a plan, what she was planning to do. She was going to vaccinate or not. She refused to contact me or answer me for all that time. And then during the fall there, when Health Canada was about to approve it, I started contacting her lawyer, making contempt of court threats and all this. And finally, she said to me at the very last second, "I'm going to do whatever the government tells me to do," which was not sufficient for me. So I basically went into hiding with my daughter. We did go to court in Queen's Bench at the time in Regina, and then right up to the appeal court of Saskatchewan to try and get a break and stop it, but they all refused and ridiculed me. So I went on the run, and I was on the run for 3 months to protect my daughter. And during those 3 months, I was in contact with the RCMP the whole time. I didn't tell them where I was, but I was in contact. They knew the reason. I did a video with Laura Lynn Thompson to show me and my daughter that she was in good spirits and she was happy and safe. And blah, blah, blah. It just went on. They eventually found us in Vernon, BC in February of 22. And I was arrested, thrown in jail for a year, denied bail, all these criminal stuff that goes on in our courts. And was charged family side and criminal side. Was charged with Section 282 of the Criminal Code, which is abduction and contravention of a parenting order. And I was charged with contempt of court and family court, which is 2 different courts. So I was double jeopardied. I was found guilty of both. I was given lawyers that took a dive, all of them. I ended up doing it myself. It was denied. There's all sorts of things I could go into detail, but basically I was found guilty at the trial. The criminal code gives a defense for Section 282, which is 285, which says if a parent believes that their child's going to have harm, and that's why they took them, they can't be found guilty of this offense. And Justice McMillan Brown, a woman judge, turned to the jury on my last day after a 2-week trial and told them that doesn't apply to me, that if I took my daughter, they have to find me guilty. So the whole thing was one great big setup so they could get a precedent to go after parents who don't follow court orders to protect their children. And we're on appeal right now. We appealed it right away. I'm sitting on bail still. It's been like since 22 of February I've been on bail. or no, since 23, sorry, when I got out. So over 2 years I've been on bail now, waiting for this to end. And now the lawyer we hired, Catherine Polka from Little Law in Saskatoon, she told us it was $10,000 and that would be it, one lump sum. So through Give, Send, Go and friends, we raised the money, gave it to her. And about 2 months ago, she dropped it. No reason, didn't even call me, had somebody else from the office call me. I've still not heard from her, no response, nothing. They applied to the appeal court of Saskatchewan and dropped the case. So now we have to come up with $22,000 for another lawyer because they ate half of what they had, and continue on. But it's I don't know, man. It's not looking good.
Do you see any? You have a give send go address and everything that I can.
Yes,
post?
I do. I don't have it with me. I could email it to you.
It's on your X, right?
Yeah, it's on my X. If you go to God's Offense at God's Offense, that's my Twitter handle. It's on there. It's up in the pinned section.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that.
It's been dead for months. It's there hasn't been anything. I haven't even posted on Twitter very much in the last few months. I kind of just got sick of it. So doesn't seem to be any support. People don't realize the importance of this case, and they're just watching it go by, and it's really sad.
It is sad because it's so important. We're talking about bodily autonomy and guardianship and parental rights. And over the last year, the show has shown me and my followers that it's everywhere. They're in the Rangers with Kirk and Salgave with the Army, Vincent Gersey's in the Ontario Provincial Police. So it's everywhere. And with you, it's the Children's Aid and the courts, the family courts, and the it's like we have, after a whole year now, it's been over a year, but at the truth table, all the information that we've gotten collectively shows that we have nobody. We have no one. The lawyers are out to make money, and there's nothing wrong with making money, but it's so corrupt, but it's also all unnatural. Yeah. Just like I was talking with Tanya. I mean, when we're preparing a meal for our family, we don't intend to do harm. We don't try to lower their IQ. We these things don't even cross our minds. And yet you've been punished for going against a narrative that hurt my other guest.
Yeah.
I mean, Tanya was injured by it. And what accommodation or, does she get? What, and you're trying to save, a child that has value. We all have value, even the worst of us, even the people behind all of this, still have value, and they could, they could turn this around. But these narcissists have put narcissists in positions of power.
Yeah, it's so corrupt. We see these lawyers and these judges. It's so corrupt. I don't even know what to do anymore except call them out. But they don't even care because people don't believe it. I think they hear the conspiracy. They think it's a conspiracy, and they don't believe what you're saying because nobody does research. People are very lazy, right? They'll listen to a story and they'll judge the story. They don't actually go and look at the interviews or listen to the whole story. Like my story takes, an hour and a half at a minimum to tell it, probably closer to 2 hours because there's so many stages in my story. It just kept going and going and going. And to point out all the corruption and all the things the police and the lawyers and the judges have done takes a lot of time. And I think people just don't want to sit through it. People just don't care anymore. They're so done with it, but they don't realize that this is all a setup for what's coming next, for what's happening right now. I mean, the charge, I think I said this morning in our little group there, the charge I was charged with Section 282 of the Criminal Code. Basically, if a parent breaks a court order, that's what it's there for. For whatever reason, your wife wants to change your daughter to a boy. You don't believe in this medical jab or something like this. So one parent says no, and the other parent says, yes, I'm doing it. And so the parent withholds and keeps the child, to keep them safe. And the government changed the law in 2019 when all the mutilation and the transgendering was going on with little kids. They changed it then, knowing what's going to happen in the future. And it used to be a slap on the wrist. Like they used in my sentencing trial, they had like 22 precedents, and they were all pissed off, angry parents who had taken their children for 3 months up to 20 years, and none of them served more than a year or two. So they changed it to a 10-year prison sentence in 2019, and that's what they wanted. They were seeking that. And then finally, when it went to trial, I tried the defense, I tried everything, but the lawyers just sold it out. Every single one of them. Rock DuPont, Alex, I don't know. There's so many of them. It's Luke Capel. They're just the judges involved in this. They're all crooked. They're all just bought off, doing what they're told, because they want our children. They want our rights, because they want to go after our kids, because they know that's the easiest way to keep in power, is to keep the young generations believing their bullshit.
Well, I've added your Give, Send, Go to Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. If anybody would like to help Michael in his appeal and to help pay for his lawyer, you can click on the Give, Send, Go. And I hope you do, if you can. Everything does help, and we really do. I think we should all become Amish. Back
Do you
in the
think?
community, doing things together, building barns together,
Yeah.
planting gardens and crops. I really think that is our natural state, our natural way, without any vaccines. I think vaccines is absolute evil. It's just a way for evil to enter your body and violate your body. Your sacred bodily autonomy is the most important thing that you have. And protecting your child bodily autonomy. And that's why we don't want our children to get tattoos. We don't encourage them to do that. The Bible says not to get a tattoo, especially of someone who's dead. And I've seen so many people get tattoos of, their dead husbands, their dead children. It's like, oh my God. It's like the church has let you down by not showing that these things are important. Your body is important. And you have value, and I'm just so anti-tattoo, but I don't judge people who get them.
Yeah.
I understand the art, the respective art that's behind it, or the value of the love, of someone you lost. And I understand that. But art really needs to be on the wall. That's where it belongs.
Yeah.
And can be enjoyed for life. You don't want it on your body. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what the Bible says about it. And, I just feel that way as well. I don't like needles, so I would never have a tattoo.
I don't think anybody likes needles anymore.
No.
I think needles got a bad rap for sure. I mean, it's funny, the contrast between me and T-Bird, the fact of, and Sean, Sean too, I forget his Hartman. The contrast is that, these are the people who got suckered into it and suffered massive. And I mean, I've met hundreds of people since this battle began through Twitter, and a friend of mine, Amalia, on Growth Factor, and I've just met so many people who've been injured. There's COVID Humanity Group or Humanity Project and all these groups out there now. And there's so many people, and yet I'm still being, basically crucified for protecting Sarah from what I'm supposed to do as a father. I mean, that's my job. It didn't come down to should I or could I or would I. I just did what I was supposed to do, and they can't handle that. They're so upset about it. During my sentencing hearing, I showed no remorse. I showed no remorse at trial. They picked a transgendered man to be my Crown prosecutor. And it's so ironic that this thing is criticizing me on what it is to be a father and my role. Something that could never have a child, who's totally mentally incompetent, if not unstable. judging me in a courtroom that I'm the bad guy. It's absurd. It's what's right is wrong and what's wrong is right. Everything's totally upside down in Canada and nothing makes sense anymore. And if you try to make sense out of anything, they just crush you. 100%. They put all the resources they have to crush you, to shut you up, so that people don't follow you. They don't want anybody to do what you've done. They don't want parents to stand up for their children. They want them to just go, okay, George, I can do it. I can feed the rabbits. You know, they just want to dumb everybody down, right?
Well, I was pretty shocked when the RCMP girl there said, you know, traditional values are extreme. And the Trudeau government passed laws protecting Islam. Islam, even though it's quite common in Islamic countries to not be allowed to pray near mosques. And if you are a Christian, you have to pay a tax, you know, for not being Muslim. There's a penalty for not being Muslim. Yet in Toronto, we had, you know, I don't know, 1,000 Muslims praying in front of City Hall, taking up and blocking the streets. You know, that isn't something that would be allowed in their own country. So it's not natural for them to do it here.
I know.
It's great. It's, you know, this is the Al Qaeda's of our government. This is what they've been doing for decades in other countries. They know how to do this. They know how to infiltrate. The Mossad and CIA with the Iran in 1953, they overthrew an elected official and put in the Shah. And ever since then, everyone we support is the bad guy. In Syria, it's the bad guy. One of our guys. In Iraq, like Israel fighting with everybody, doesn't like anybody. It was created. It was manufactured out of thin air. It has nothing to do with the Bible. Except the fact that things in the Bible happened in that region, in that area, in that geographical area. But you know, I've had shows on this topic, but the thing is,
you have to be careful when you talk about that sort of thing.
Yes,
it's true. I mean, true. The what's going on in the Middle East is nobody has a clue of the truth. It's all just manipulated by the news. And even Trump, you know, everybody thought he was going to be the hero, and everybody thought that RFK was going to be the hero, and they didn't do anything. It's all one big scheme, and they control Trump just like they control everybody else.
Yeah, well,
stop the vaccine or anything.
Yeah, he's an actor.
Yeah,
I mean, he put his hand on his ear. Remember?
Yeah,
he was shot. He put his hand on his ear. Then he put up his hand, and there was no blood on it.
Yeah.
It was when he was down. When he was down, they put the blood on his ear. When he was down, it was all a theater.
Yeah. Everything is. It's all a stage. All of them.
You know, I'm very disappointed that Trump will participate in that. You know, it is very scary. We're talking about BlackRock. We're talking about, you know, North Pole. BlackRock is what it's called, the four mountains, where the devil brought Jesus and said, "This is all yours," so he could see all the land on the plain. And you know, if you bow down to me.
Well, I think these judges, like, it's so hard to understand in my case how all the judges, all the police, and all the lawyers. You know, they're going to call you crazy if you say they're all talking to each other and it's all intentional. But it is. Like, I don't believe in coincidences anymore. And the coincidences that have come in my case are just jaw-dropping. Like, it makes no sense. Like, all the judges who've been in my case before this happened, during my custody battle and up to the beginning, they've all been promoted. Like, I think 5 of them now are appeal court. No, 6. 6 of the judges are appeal court judges now. They've all been involved in my case. And I know for a fact that 2 of them were promoted, if not 3, by my case. Like Justice Luer, who was an appeal court judge, who was the last one we went up against, in December of 22 or 21 before I left with Sarah, we went to a trial or a hearing in the appeal court because the lower court ordered me to return her. And the judge asked my ex, can you just hold off for 60 days on the vaccine so that we can have this back to court and discuss it and work this out? And they said no. So the minute I would have returned Sarah to them, they would have just given her the jab. I had no choice. They put me in a corner. I went through all the levels of the court and did everything I could. And I got
your natural guardianship was stolen from you.
Yep.
Your ability to, as a father, to protect your offspring, your children.
Yes.
So but what your story shows is where we are in Canada. Tanya as well. I mean, nobody comes a nurse wanting to do harm. They come into it because they love other people. They love their family, their friends, their mothers and fathers, and they have been that loyalty has been instilled into their being to want to do something like that.
Yeah.
But you are both harmed by the same industry, and there's no repercussions for good people. There's no consequences for these people that have done this to you. Mm-hmm. And you come from different levels. Like you come from a higher, like Tanya, you come from a higher realm within the belly of the beast. You know what I mean? Like you knew these people, they were your friends, and they were doing well as well. They were doing good, and they had recognition and power and accolades, and they just don't seem to care about the fathers that are trying to avoid the potential of the harm that's been done to you.
Mm-hmm.
I will, if I could I've been just listening, obviously. I don't want to interrupt because I don't love Michael's story. It's really important that I don't interrupt because it's really important. And I lost all my friends, all my colleagues. My whole life was my colleagues because I worked so hard. I was a single mom taking care of my two boys. I didn't have time for a social life. So all my friends were nurses, and the people, and unfortunately I was a manager, so they were nurses that worked for me, most of them. But to this day, no one speaks to me. No one. Everybody dropped me like a sack of potatoes when I started speaking out about what happened, because it makes you realize how selfish that the healthcare system is. Even though they weren't being paid, like up in Canada, I know for a fact these nurses were not being paid to give injections. I know that from the bottom of my heart. I don't know how it worked financially. I know how it worked in the States now, but
I think it's through the doctors.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But the doctors, I don't know any doctor who gave the shot. The doctors gave the orders to the nurses to give the shots, and the pharmacists gave the shots. I don't know any doctors who actually physically gave, and I don't know any doctors to this day who give these immunizations, but that could just be me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've only been an RN for 26 years, whatever. But I never was forced to give any, like, no doctor. Okay, when I used to do flu clinics, not one doctor in 27 years gave an immunization. I'll tell you that. That is my experience. That's not my opinion. So, Michael, I just wanted to say you did the right thing. And I wish I would have had a father like you in my life that would have protected me, not just from vaccines, just a father that, you know what, when you get thrown in jail and you're going through what you're going through, you did the right thing, right? It's a horrible way to look at it, but I'm not going to give you any advice because I'm just as equally, I've gone through anger, crying, denial, anger, mostly anger, but you did the right thing. And your daughter, no matter who says anything to her or chirps in her ear, because I got my boys too who think I'm absolutely nuts, you did the right thing. And I would have given anything to have a father like you to protect me or give me some kind of sense. But I will say, as a medical, like I said, I went to medical school. I went to university to be a teacher. I went to college. I became an RN. Not once did I ever get a course on vaccination or diet. Never. Not even a 30-minute class. We learned about stupid stuff and then the technical stuff. But I don't believe, I'm being honest, I don't believe a lot of medical people have any clue. We're sincerely brainwashed or not taught. And then you're taught a certain way. And I'm being honest, that I'm not excusing it. But when you wake up as a nurse and you spread the word to other nurses and they see you walking with a cane, falling, clots, heart attacks, and they still ignore you and block you, then they are criminal at this point.
Yeah.
I believe anyone at this point is criminal. Absolutely.
I agree.
Or maybe fear. Maybe fear. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think the fellow nurses, though. I think it's just going against the narrative scares them because everyone wants to keep their job.
Yeah.
That's how they got a lot of people vaccinated, by the threat of losing their job, to be able to support their family, to sustain their family.
Yeah.
So it was a crime of the century.
Oh,
and I've been talking about it for over a year now, and I'm grateful that the podcast is, I'm able to do it tonight and put some light on the situation that we're dealing with in Canada. Yeah, I mean, generally, I would say, we need like the military to like start putting people to jail. Like these are crimes. They're obvious crimes to me. They're not really even hidden. Even the chemtrails are not hidden. You just look up any day and it's like, wow, this is like Vietnam.
Yeah.
This is what they were doing then.
When I got out of jail, I was all loving and forgiving, that I survived all that, Supermax for a year. And they put me with the worst of the worst, and they put the worst people in my cell. But, when I got out, I wasn't angry or pissed, but I sure am now, because I think for me, like as a believer in Christ, forgiveness is the ultimate thing. And I do believe in forgiveness, but I have a hard time forgiving people who are doing willful evil. It's one thing if they're ignorant and they're threatened a little bit, maybe their children or, they're scared sort of thing. But in my case, that's not it. In my case, we have judges, police, and lawyers who are full well knowing what they're doing. They're agreeing with what they're doing. They know the consequences of what they're doing. And for those people, it's time to get groups together. And I mean, I don't care if they come to my door, but they need to be arrested and tried. They are criminals and they're willing participants. These RCMP that were involved in my case, breaking my door down. I posted all that series of videos of them at my door trying to get my daughter without a warrant, lying and cheating. They know what they're doing. These aren't people who are like, oh, sorry, I misunderstood, or, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. They have intent. And that's what God judges in your heart, right? It's your intent. You can be driving down the highway and get pulled over for speeding. You shouldn't get a ticket unless your intent was to speed, because that's what the law is about. The law is about intent. It's supposed to punish people who have a criminal intent. If your intent is not criminal and your intent is to do good and something happens, then you should be let go. But these people have a thirst, like a blood thirst for our rights. And
they do.
They need to be punished. They need to be thrown in jail for what they're doing.
Yep.
All
like
the judges in Saskatchewan.
Having a gun in your home to protect your home, your family, it to me is not a criminal act. And to use that gun to, like, I don't believe in what the police believe, aiming for the torso when you shoot. If you're gonna shoot someone someone that breaks in your home, I would think training could be involved and try to shoot their leg or their hand. You don't want to aim for the torso. So like, why would they want a kill shot for the police?
Yeah. You should never want to kill somebody.
Homeowner, but charge a homeowner, just to protect his family. I mean, you're an example of just medical autonomy, like this is my child. There's nothing wrong with my child. She doesn't need help. She doesn't need a medical intervention. In fact, I think all the vaccines are bad. I think I look at the ingredients of all of them, and none of them have benefit. There's no vitamins in there.
Yeah.
There's no vitamins in the chemtrails. There's no vitamins in these 13-letter ingredients in our food and our cereals. This is something that's been going on for 100 years. 50 years ago, or no, 70 years ago, 75 years ago, in the 50s, 1950s, they started getting rid of the bells, and because of the harmonics and the vibration and the healing and the aligning our chakras and all that beautiful stuff that can happen. They changed the 432 megahertz in music, and they changed the 440 so it could no longer benefit us like the music we're listening to in the background right now, which is in 432. And that's my part. I love having my part. Just like a nurse loves to make someone in pain have comfort, or even to feed that bottle to your baby, knowing that they won't know hunger. That's true nature of mankind. That's who we are. What we're being shown and what's being done to us is not natural. It's definitely a negative spiritual war. It's like a war for our souls. But it's a sad story. It really is, because I met the most beautiful people in the last 5 years. You two included. But I think we've all met beautiful people in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I think like God,
like us, we flock together, right? We can't be around the other people anymore because we don't have patience for it. Like, these people are just gliding through life with their eyes glazed. I don't think we want anything to do with them anymore. Myself don't want to try and educate people anymore. I'm tired of it. If they choose the system and want to follow along, see you later. But if you want to know truth and you want to change things, I'm all about being your friend. But I think that's where we get to. We're so we're so crushed that we just can't deal with it. And you can't trust people like that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, another thing, when we talk to each other and that, like when I talk to my friends, it's all in code. I don't just pick up the phone and have conversations with people anymore. I'll use some sort of an app or something to hide my conversation. So, the people that we've surrounded ourselves now are the people we trust, right?
I think mankind was divided into, good, this side and that side. I'm not even going to say good and evil, because there are good people that do bad things too sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's because we have limits. Some people have tempers, and some people, we have different characteristics of our character, but we all have purpose, and we all have, we're all important. God loves us equally. That's one equilibrium. There's the equalizer.
Yeah.
God loves us like a parent loves their child. That's how God loves us. In my experience, I've lost children, so I mean, that to me is like the worst pain ever. I would rather a knife than that sort of pain, because it really doesn't heal. At least a wound will heal. But it also brought me into different things. I dig into everything because it all matters. To know how long ago this started, like, where did this start? Who's in charge of this? Who's the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain?
Yeah.
What are the remedies? How do we fix our armed forces and our rangers? Like, how do we correct and fix these things? How do we eliminate child services that have absolutely no consequences for lying in court and just destroying the natural fabric of a family, the natural fabric of a good parent? They always choose the bad parent.
I know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
They would rather the alcoholic father or the alcoholic mother over a good parent. They
Yeah.
want destruction, and
Yeah.
it's a part of the plan. Even Children's Aid. I mean, it's everywhere, and you only get promoted in the army if you're willing to, do the bad thing.
Yeah. I
And
think it
it
goes.
all falls under, security. They
Yeah.
hide everything in security. This is, military. Oh, this government secret information. They can hide everything, all the crimes under that. The veil.
I never
But
would have believed, like, when people won't believe our stories, but there's a lot of us. And I know maybe Michael wasn't on at the beginning, or maybe he hasn't. I know we've spoken in spaces, Michael, and briefly, but I got really sick and I was in and out of hospital, so I apologize. But what you guys just hit me with, number one, the bells. I went and found that witchcraft place and I got bells. I have a bell hanging on my oak tree right out front now. I've got bells on my front door. This is the stuff I learned in these spaces. I'm Catholic. I didn't realize they were burning down all the Catholic churches for a reason and burying the bells for the sound frequency. So I just wanted to say that, because I just wanted to acknowledge what you're saying. I take it very seriously, and I was never that, what do you call that, woohoo or whatever people call that.
no, it's a vibration. It's
Yeah.
like atoms. We're made of atoms, and atoms don't touch. So
But
there's
I
space.
can't get the damn bell to ring. It was a tornado out here when this podcast started. I'm like, why isn't it's a wrought iron, right? It's like this it's cast iron. It's loud if you get it to go. But I'm like, oh, it's so heavy. But I'm like, so now I'm hanging more bells off the bell. And I'm like, everything I do doesn't work.
Vibration.
Do you guys ever feel like you're banging your head against a wall, that everything you do, it's like, nope, we're just going to make you figure this out. Work a little tiny bit harder. You're not doing it right.
Every single day. It's like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the enemy. I think that people like us who, God didn't put this on us, but for some reason, he chose us to come to this point in our lives where we fight this stuff because we don't give in. We're not fearful of this. God said, I don't give you a spirit of fear.
No.
So all of us who are like this, who fight, we're all like this every day of our lives. And that's because the devil is on us. If you're not a threat, the devil leaves you alone. If you're going to church on Sunday and you're just going there because it's a social event and you don't really care what happens in the world and you just follow along, you're right where the devil wants you. He couldn't care less. It's the people who are standing up and fighting that scares the shit out of them, because we follow God. And he knows the truth, and he knows we're a threat. I mean, I'm all the time having problems in my life. Like physical things, attacks and stuff like that. And just people, acting strange when I meet them sometimes. Like, I can meet a total stranger and they'll just be rude and ignorant and horrible to me. And I haven't even opened my mouth. It's just that the devil does that intentionally, to always try to bring you down, to get you to give up, to get you to stop. That's what he wants, right? He hates the fact that we're fighting and talking about it. He hates it. But, c'est la vie.
Well, I've studied a lot of different religions, and I have a very unique perspective on what the devil is, who the devil is. See, the devil knows God.
Oh, yeah.
Like in Job, he went back and forth, destroying his farm, destroying his this and destroying that and killing his family. I mean, holy shit. Poor Job. See, it's okay to swear, Tanya. The beautiful thing about people who swear is that I don't mean like every third word. I just mean when that happens, like when Trump sweared, he became a hero.
Yeah, sometimes you have to emphasize your point.
People who swear, say the F word, for example, which I rarely say, they're compassionate. They're passionate people. They're generally the honest people. The people who are willing to sacrifice their job, like in a political level, someone willing to say the F word would gain a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably being honest if they're using that word.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. And I don't see it as a swear word. I see like Jesus as a swear word. To use that in a cuss would probably be inappropriate. Like, I think that's the first commandment, not to say the Lord's, I think that includes the Son, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't use, and the problem with French people is all their swear words are church related.
Oh, I know. I don't even want to say it. I didn't even know what I was saying.
The chalice.
Right.
Chalice.
You're taking it into
everything. Tabernacle. I mean, that's the tabernacle. It's like they're cussing out the Catholic Church, like left, right, and center.
In Newfoundland and that working in Fort McMurray, everything is JC and GD all day long, right?
It's like, say the F word, please.
Yeah.
That's how I always felt. You know what the most
It's much better.
You know what? You're hitting on so many points. One of my best friends, she's super religious, like read the Bible a million times. She's Protestant. I'm Catholic. We're both Irish, whatever. Doesn't matter. But she said the GDU to me. I can't even say it out loud. That I take, and she's like, you say the F word all the time when you're really pissed. I'm like, yeah, but I'm never going to condemn you to hell. She's like, you're brainwashed. You're Catholic. No, because you're condemning someone to hell when you say that. That's my belief, right? And you're right. I would take more offense to that. Tell me to F off any day. Call me the CUNT word. Call me anything you want. Do not ever say that to me. That is just
call me that too.
Me, right?
Yeah, I never use the Lord's name in vain. Ever.
No.
See?
And even I bought this cross. It's solid white gold. In November of 2024, when I had the spinal fracture, I fell all the way. I had to be airlifted. It was horrible, right? From the stupid MS and the fall and all the bullshit. Excuse my language. But I couldn't pray on it because I felt guilty. I'm not a special person. But you were saying something way earlier, Paul. I was listening the whole time. I just didn't put my camera on. But I was like, it is very important to me that I needed to come to peace. I wasn't going to ask for help. I've not asked for anybody's help because I just can't do it. I'm so stubborn, I guess. And same with you guys, obviously. But it's like, it took me months and months. I've never taken this cross off except for some of my MRIs, bone scans, all this stuff I've had to go through where I'm not allowed to wear it. But honestly, it took me crying in the morning, waking up and holding it and just thanking God I was still alive every morning. So that's what it started. That it wasn't, I didn't want to ask for help. I wasn't praying for anyone. I wasn't praying for myself. I was literally holding it going, oh my God, I just opened my eyes. I'm not dead yet. Like that's how profound. I don't think people understand. Like when you tried to save your daughter's life, I'm literally, well, we're all dying, but every morning, the suffering I go through from what happened to me, you saved your daughter from going through this, possibly, right? Mm-hmm. Or suddenly dying with no symptoms, and then you have no answer, which is happening to a lot of people right now, as we both know, as we all know. I try to speak out not for attention, but I do want to educate. I want to keep learning and teaching and going, take it proactively. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just still here somehow, but it's painful. It's very painful. It's very lonely. The mental anguish, as we don't talk about very often, the psyop that they created, the isolation, the pain mentally, it's the sadness that you're alone staring at a wall and you feel unloved, unwanted. Your kids think you're crazy. Your ex pins you. I have an ex too. They play games and they put more mental games on your kids. That's the stuff that people don't talk about. That's almost harder than having 2 heart attacks and everything else. Here's with the physical stuff. It's the mental stuff we need to get together on and go. We need to appreciate each other and go, this is heavy, man. This is really hard. And if your mental isn't there, that's going to affect your physical too, right? And you don't want to be sick. You need to protect your daughter when you're healthy. And if you're hurt, that's going to hurt your heart. And I don't know, I'm not giving you any lecture. You know what you're talking about, but it's just so hard to listen to what's happening. And Canadians are so out of tune. We're so censored and so dumb. So dumb. Like literally, there's no other word.
Isolation is hard. We're all isolated from the world because of the path we've chosen And you're right on key. Everything you've said, like the mental anguish that we go through is horrible. You know, I know God, like you talk about not asking for help, man. I tell you, I ask every single day for help from God, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here. I know that. It's not talking to or even speaking to my daughter or seeing a picture of her in 3.5 years, man, like people don't even understand what that's like. Well, I imagine some do, but it's so evil what they're doing. Like they're trying to destroy us mentally, probably more than physically. They know the suffering that we're going through, and they're willing to prolong it as long. I mean, if we all just ate a bullet, they'd be so happy, right? We'd be gone.
Absolutely.
But I just
they
can't.
Offered me MAID, sorry, Michael. They offered me MAID, and they told me I had COVID. I had long COVID. I never had long COVID. I was never sick with COVID. I worked right through COVID 2020. I ran 10 retirement homes, huge luxury retirement facilities. No one died of COVID here in Canada, in Ottawa anyway. I live in Ottawa. So it's like, no one died. No one even got sick. None of my staff. I had 100 people, probably about 150 staff per building, 400 residents, geriatric residents per building. That's 4,000 geriatric patients. No one died of COVID. So I wasn't afraid when it came, because I also lived through the first COVID in 2002 at Sunnybrook Hospital.
SARS.
I was a trauma nurse, right? At Guangdong, China. I got the first SARS COVID patient, and nurses around me were dying. That's true. But I wasn't afraid. I was like, okay, they were older, or I don't know what was happening, but I didn't get sick. So I was already exposed to it. Like, it's just a long story. But at the end of the day, you know what? You're going to see your daughter again. I mean, I've been separated from my son, my older one, for years. And finally he's come back because of COVID. He went through depression, tried to commit suicide. There's the whole other side of it too, right? There's this affected our kids who the isolation. That's the psyop again that you're talking about, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, Kirk too. Kirk too.
Oh my God, I love him. I love that guy.
But I mean,
I can't even there's a lot of days I don't even think about my daughter. I put it out of my mind because I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think that she's stuck with that mother who was willing to kill her just to get even with me, and that she can't talk to me or anything. I just feel like she's in some sort of a hellish prison, you know? And it just drives me nuts to the point where sometimes I can't even think about it. And yeah, Kirk too, you know, isolated, you know, family and friends and all that, all of us. Everybody you talk to is in this situation, except for the grifters out there making all the money. They got lots of friends. But people who truly stand up and fight and willing to sacrifice everything, you're pretty much on your own. People don't want anything to do with you. They don't even understand that you're that kind of person, that you would risk all that. They look at you like you got horns on your head. Like, why don't you just do what they say and let it go? Like, what's your problem? You're crazy. But they don't understand the long game.
Paul said, you are so dead on. My battery's dying, so I'm gonna have to go under the desk and try and plug it in. But I just wanted to say really quick, because I do have bad memory, but you said something that has profoundly hit me when you were talking about Job and Jesus knowing Satan. And I'm not, like I said, I don't know the Bible, but when you said that profoundly, I literally just did a post the other day, because you know me, I just say it like it is. I have a lot of enemies, and they're supposed to be my friends, quote. And I've met nice people through these spaces, but I see through this. I see through them, and I call them out. Just like when I was saying, Michael, maybe you didn't hear me do it, but in one of the spaces, one of the hosts of the quote communities is okay with them calling us retards and vaxtards. Yep. A paramedic and a doctor do this repeatedly. They post it, they write it, they put it in caps, they put it in quotes, they say it repeatedly.
I've seen terrible things. Yes.
Obnoxious. So I called them out one night, and I got kicked out immediately for saying, stop calling us that. Just because we took the shot doesn't mean we're retarded. And it's insulting to a retarded person, as far as I'm concerned. I think they're smarter than these two people. Non-vaccinated men, or wait, three non-vaccinated men who think they're all that. So I do a deep search on them. They're all fraud, and I have it all. Like everyone, the people that I worked with to find this out. Wow, They don't even live where they say they do. They aren't who they say they are. Of course, Job. Here you go. Satan knows. Of course, the pharmaceuticals are grooming these people who are Antifa protesters. Proven. Yep.
Yeah.
They're all proven protesters. And why wouldn't they put them as co-hosts and hosts of a space that runs vaccine injured spaces?
Yeah.
Ta-da. It's
Yeah.
common sense.
Are you talking about Jeremiah?
That's not his name, apparently. I don't
Well,
know.
those it's funny because I totally stopped doing spaces on Twitter because of everybody was phony. And I met that guy in the beginning. Like, I do have a good friend, Amalia, Growth Factor. I'm sure you know her.
Yeah, I like her.
She's legit, and that woman has been a close friend of mine and stood by me through everything.
She's
and
great.
Still, how are you doing all the time, right? But I got on that program on that show, and they heard my story. We're going to do this for you. We're going to do that for you. Just like all the ones in Canada.
Right.
And it was just lies and bullshit. They're out just making money and getting famous. They don't give a shit about what we're going through. It's an opportunity. They're grifters. And
they're not grifters. They're paid pharma-shills.
Yeah.
They were placed and they were trained to do this, to infiltrate on a nice. So you have the real, this is what I was going to say. The real story. I need to plug this freaking, because I can't leave the space. Oh my God, it's so good. So listen, the real truther guy who hosts that optional, right? The opposition. And then you have Jeremiah come in and he runs the space that's, I hold the community. I own the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're friends. They're friends. Just like Paul just explained. People are so stupid. So the people in this next round that don't understand that are goners. And I probably shouldn't say that out loud. But if you actually believe these people that are running the spaces to protect us, that are getting paid to do it, because they work with the opposite. They're all paid. These kids are kids. They're in their 40s. They don't have jobs. Who can stay on a space for 20 hours a day?
I know, every day.
City. Yeah, no. If you've lived life, sorry, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to plug my computer.
That's why the Canadian ones, I had so many Canadian podcasters,
excluding me.
See, that mouthpiece woman, there's two of them together, and they're from the East Coast. One of them actually owns a pharmacy, and the other one is a drunk.
Oh my God.
We're gonna do a space for you to raise money. Never heard from them again. Rachel, never heard from her again. And I called them all out a few months ago, and they hate me now, and I'm glad. But I don't do those spaces anymore.
Is that the one that sounds like she smokes like 20 packs a day?
Yeah, Sue, I think her name is, or something like that. And she said,
there's a lot of really, I'll be honest, and people hate when I say this out loud in American spaces, and I say it straight up. And this is not nice for Canadians, but I'm a Canadian, full-born, like dead.
Yeah.
Canadians are assholes. They are not supportive. I've been in Walk Dog space. He treat me like shit. I've been kicked out of Canadian spaces when I've been telling the truth. There's been such evil, mean people from Canadian spaces. And Americans just think we're all nice. We're not nice. Well, I won't say I'm nice. I'm not nice. I'm mad as hell. But no, I've been treated like crap by the Canadians, but not by the Americans.
I've been treated fairly well by the Americans, but like I said, there's certain ones I just don't associate with because I don't trust them, and I've listened to them, and I just feel that there's something wrong with who they are. Even somebody in the States got me in touch with Tammy Peterson, Jordan Peterson's wife. Wow. She's doing a podcast now, and I talked to her on the phone in Arizona for like an hour. This is back, I'm pretty sure it's before Christmas. I can't remember. I keep everything though. And I had a phone call with her, and she was like really moved and said she was going to do an interview with me and raise awareness for my Give, Send, Go and all this. And I waited 2 weeks, and then she came back with, after 2 weeks, I didn't realize that you actually took your daughter from her mother, so I can't support you. And I'm like, what? Like, just phony. Like, all these people.
But who has your daughter? How could you say you took her away when you're the one that doesn't have your daughter?
I know.
This is the kind of thing that we're dealing with here. We're dealing with like the violation of physics with 9/11, the violation of the flu with the COVID. Yeah. I mean, this is a crime against humanity.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
And it's so sad. it's so sad for me to witness all the people that have been fooled. People are driving in cars with masks on. It's sad for me that this is harm to me. This is psychological harm. This is not acceptable. These are crimes. And we don't have anyone. We don't have the police. We don't have the RCMP. We don't have CSIS. We have nobody.
Nobody. Yep.
Otherwise, we would need like a military coup, have all these medical officials that made children wear masks, have them all charged.
Yep.
You know, I don't want anyone to die because thou shalt not kill is kind of my belief. You know, I believe in that. I do not want to fund a war for Israel because they don't like anybody. They don't like people in Iraq. They don't like Syria. They don't like Lebanon. They don't like Israel. They don't like Gaza. I said Israel by mistake, but they don't follow Judaism, so they don't really follow Jewish Orthodox, you know. They don't follow it.
That commandment gets twisted a little bit too, because if you look up, it's either the Hebrew or the Greek, it says thou shalt not murder. It doesn't say kill. God ordered tons of people to kill. And I think that with what's going on right now, a lot of these evil people are willingly, you know, like these pedophiles, like this stuff going on. Those people will be killed. And like the Bible says, it's better you had a millstone around your neck and tossed in the ocean than to go after my children, God says in Scripture. And
that is the value of the crime to me.
Yeah, I have no mercy for people like that.
I was hoping that in a year that I would find remedy, and even for Kirk, you know, I want remedy. I want remedy for you. I want remedy for all these fathers. It's, you know, thousands of Ontario fathers have committed suicide because of their children, because of Children's Aid Society with no ombudsman to protect them. There's no, this radical ideology, Marxism has infiltrated everything. Medical, school, education, child protective services, immigration. It has completely infiltrated everything. And everyone I've spoken to over the year has told me the same thing. It's everywhere. There's nowhere to go. And that's sad. I wanted to end on a happy note.
Can I, like, I know we're ending, but you talked
We're
about...
not ending. No.
Oh, you're
no,
not?
There's no limit. No
I
limit.
can take my shirt off now.
I
can
take my shirt off. You can help support
the ratings, eh?
You can support the truth table.
You should see it with the oxygen on. I get all tangled up. It's really sexy.
At my age, I can only make money selling feet pictures on OnlyFans.
I don't know. I'm gonna have nice ears. They're not out.
Yes, you do. You do. Ear model. You could be an ear model.
An ear model.
But as long as we choose something that's, you know, immoral, the government will support that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys. Okay, I know. I'm not here to complain. I'm done complaining. I always want resolution, but I also want education, as I've said, and I'll continue to do that. And I'm not special. I'm not smart.
Yes, you are.
Well,
now, words are powerful.
I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with that. Fight.
Yeah. Fight. Oh yeah, I actually used to box. But anyway.
But you know, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I'm so sorry. Listen.
No.
You know what caught me? Because everyone keeps saying this is Nuremberg 2. That's great. Everyone, you know, you go into these spaces and you listen to these people blab all day. They all have opinions. I'm like, do they even have a job? Do they have an education? Do they have a career? So I started looking up, because they're mostly Americans. I love my American friends, my actual ones who I absolutely adore and love and who do work. But you hear most of them, they're in spaces all day. I'm like, what do they do? I looked at it as like 1% of Americans are wealthy. I think it was like 56% are moderately stable, but crashing fast. And I think it was the other basically 50% of Americans are in poverty. So like, if you're in poverty, how do you, they can afford the phone, they can afford to talk all day because they're sitting on their porch smoking weed and drinking, maybe. I don't know, with their opinions. I don't know. Maybe that's the same with some Canadians. But anyway, so here's what I do. I don't care. I don't go to those spaces anymore because it's just opinion. But I look for fact. So my facts are, when people talk about Nuremberg 2, and I said, then how can we get, where did Nuremberg 1 come from? This was my thought. I've not shared this with anyone. And I want to share this with you guys because I don't know if anyone, you guys probably know this because you're both really smart. But I look at Nuremberg 1 and go, where do we learn, right? Just like I lived through SARS 1. I actually was a trauma nurse with the first Guangdong China's patient from China who had SARS 1, confirmed. And I lived. I wasn't wearing a mask. Okay. So I have to go back. I'm always about that. Like, what did this? So listen to this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to read it because I don't want to just say it, but this is true. So I look up, what the heck was Nuremberg 1? Has anyone ever talked about it in a space? Probably not. Not that I've heard, not that I'm special, but this is how my brain works. The International Military Tribunal, IMT, established by the Allied powers. This is why we're screwed. There's not going to be a Nuremberg 2. You know why? Because it doesn't exist anymore. Nuremberg 2, wait till you hear this, guys. This is why this is dragging on so long. Nuremberg 1 was canceled within like 10 months. Everything with Nuremberg 1, the Holocaust, 10 months, it was settled, done, boom. You know why? These certain countries got together. Has anyone talk about that? No. But anyway, listen to this. Established by the Allied powers, France, Soviet Union, United Kingdom, and the United States. Are they allies anymore? Nope. So that's who initiated Nuremberg 1. They were responsible for the Nuremberg trials, including the first one. So, including the first one? So this wouldn't be Nuremberg 2, because why would it say including the first one? So how many Nuremberg trials have there been? I haven't even gone down there yet, but I just wanted to share that. The IMT was formed to prosecute and punish major war criminals of Nazi Germany. And guess what? Pfizer is in Germany. That's interesting, eh? The Nuremberg trials, also the Neanderthal, the Genome Project, they have a huge facility called the Max Planck Institute in Germany, 10 kilometers away from the Pfizer Institute, and they work together. They're actually partners. I did all that research because I'm a Neanderthal on my DNA. So yeah, interesting that the Max Planck Institute and Pfizer work together. They work together in Germany. So how many Nuremberg trials were there? I'll leave that for you guys. The Nuremberg trials were a series of court proceedings held in Nuremberg, Germany, after World War II. These trials aimed to prosecute and punish individuals for crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The first trial, which took place from November 20th, 1945 to October 1st, 1946, tried 22 of the most prominent Nazi leaders. IMT, created by the London Charter, established procedures for these trials. Key figures involved advocating for establishing the Nuremberg trials include, I'm not even going to go into it, but the four major Allied powers, France, Soviet Union, United Kingdom, and United States, jointly established the IMT and its framework for the trials. Now, there's tons of information here, so I'm not going to go on. I just wanted to share that because they are not allies anymore. And so who are our allies? And the other thing was, that you said way earlier, I'll stop. I'm getting really hyper because I love smart people. So do you remember when, because we're going to talk about Israel, I'm not, like I said, I'm not against any religion. I found it very ironic, and I think you guys would agree, remember it was in between Biden and Trump era, and suddenly Netanyahu shows up at the White House, and he does this profanic speech. He's so powerful. He's very well spoken, very well presented. Elon Musk is in the front row. Everyone gives him a standing ovation. None of the presidents are there. None of them. Not even Donald Trump. Nobody's there. Just him. He's standing. It's like he's running the country. That's what went through my head as a Canadian when I watched it happen. I was like, what is happening here? He's giving this massive speech like he runs the world. And that was way back then. And that's between those two eras. Anyway, I'll stop. I'll drop the mic.
No, well,
Israel does run the world. It's pretty obvious now. It's coming out. People are waking up and seeing it. It's not the Israel of the Bible, that's for sure. It's a warmonger.
No, Israel in the Bible is a person. It's a man.
Yeah.
He was Jacob, and his God changed his name to Israel. And everywhere Israel went was Holy Land, and that was his 12 sons, one of them being Jacob. And Jacob came Judaism, which is really Jewish religion. Anyone can become a Jew by converting to Judaism. But Zionism is far from Judaism. They do not believe in bombing your neighbor. You know, Israel is a big issue because they have problems with everybody. They're like the Kravitz girl on Bewitched. Remember Mrs. Kravitz? She was always peeking through. She found bad in everything. I mean, if you look for negative, you can find it. I don't look for negative. I look for positive, and that's the way I survive amongst other people. It's just looking for the good. If I can find the good, then I can be. I can find out why I know this person. I can find out why God put this person in before me. I can look past the ego and all that sort of issue and get right to the core purpose of this meeting. I completely lost track of what I was talking about, but I think I've come a long way. A long time ago, when I was 16 years old, I was put on antidepressants, and I think I was too young for this kind of medication. But I mean, I had a reason to be depressed. I didn't need medication. Medication was not the solution. It was someone to talk to. Like we're doing right now, we're talking to people about real things that happened to us. And this medication got me to hang myself. And I hung myself. And I was there. I remember I was standing on a chair and I tied a rope. And it was about this thick. It was like really thick rope. There was no way it could have broken. But I hung myself because of the medication I was on. Not because of my life. Not because of my situation. My situation was fine before the medication happened. So I took this Ativan, with an antidepressant, and I woke up on the floor. I remember kicking the chair and going unconscious. But then I woke up on the floor, and the rope was still wrapped around my neck, and I had a ring around my neck for like 2 weeks. But I woke up on the ground. I fell on concrete, but there was no blood. My brain wasn't fractured. And at that moment, I looked up and saw the rope. It wasn't frayed. It was flat, like a laser cut it. And that's when I knew there was a God. That was my evidence. That was my from that moment on, I promised I would never try that again. I would never do that again. I stopped taking the Ativan. I knew that there was a God. I just had to figure out what God was.
Yeah.
And from 16 years old to now, I definitely know what there's a mission involved in my life. I don't think I'm special, just like you, Tanya. We're just a part of a beautiful. We're like the different parts of an embryo. Like we're like full of atoms that never touch. So we could break apart quite easily. Atoms are keeping us together, and it's frequencies and energy and the creator that keeps us to what we are today. But at that moment, when I was 16 years old, I knew there was a creator, and I knew I wanted to know more, and I knew that I had a purpose. I didn't know what it was, and I certainly wasn't looking for fame, even though I wouldn't mind making billions and billions of dollars on my music. That is still not my goal. It's become my goal to find as much information as I can about how we were put here, why we're here, who the creator is. And that required really reading all the religions, because just because you were born somewhere doesn't mean your religion is wrong. And that's what they try to teach us. Oh, the Islam, oh, the Muslims, oh, they're evil. Well, no. There are bad Muslims, there are bad Christians, there are bad Catholics, there are bad.
Yeah.
There's a rotten apple in every apple tree. It doesn't mean you cut the apple tree down. And
Well,
that's
remember that the Bible says, right? There is no religion. Jesus hates religion. You know, we all have the same God, and Muslims are as close to our brothers more than most people. It's the radical ones and the radical Christians that do the damage, and the radical Catholics.
Yeah. And you know what? To me, it's worth dying to expose this. This is a bacteria from a mask worn for 25 minutes. And they want our children to wear this all day in school. This is the culture. Look at all the different things going on here. You know, people are still wearing masks in their car. So this is an ongoing crime. This isn't a new crime this is ongoing.
Not to mention what the lack of
it bothers me. But mask is another thing that should concern parents. Pull your kid out of school. Stop vaccinating them. It's not good for them. There's no vitamin C in your vaccines. I'm sorry, medical mafia, but that's what my conclusion is from my research. Don't do any of them. None of them are good. There are beautiful people in the medical industry that are being usurped and financially encouraged to do the wrong thing. But there are people like Tanya that have suffered the consequences and are here still today, willing to die for you.
Yeah, I took pictures of the mask boxes, and they put graphene oxide in the. So what happened when we were ordering the masks for our facilities? They wouldn't let us use because they're called respirators when they're 3M, because if they're an N95, they're supposed to block 95% of particles. That's what N95 stands for, which is what we used during SARS-1. We used N95 respirators. We didn't use blue surgical masks. Everyone wore blue surgical masks. It's just to protect yourself from giving the patient something. Like if we had something, we didn't, because we were doing surgery, things like that. We didn't do it to protect ourselves. We did it to protect the patient. This is different. And then when we started ordering them, we couldn't get the masks in Canada. I don't think a lot of medical people talk about this. We couldn't order N95 respirators at all. And we always ordered them from Cardinal, Future Med. These are the names. I'll drop them. This is what I did for 25 years. And that's what I did for a living. I ran these homes. So I was the one that was ordering them. I had the contacts. And I'm not special. This is just what my job was. It's like an engineer telling you how to build a Boeing 777. I don't know how to do that, but I do know how to order respirators, masks. I know the differences. So I took pictures when we finally could get these quote N95 respirators. They were called KN95, which was, I'd never seen that before in 20 years, right? So I took pictures of the box, and it said right on it, graphene oxide was one of the ingredients in the fabrication of this quote respirator. So I'm just sharing that. Then I took the insert, which is in my banker boxes. Look, I'm not kidding. This is my office. I don't come in here anymore because it's too depressing. But I got loads of banker boxes. I got lawyers that took $13,000 from me, $1,000 a day, and did nothing. The same lawyer that Sean Hartman had. Yeah, he took all my money and ran. So I just want to show you. I got to show you this. I'm not even going to read it. It's very tough. Just a minute. I just have a hard time walking. Just a sec. You guys got to see this. This is the insert. I took my oxygen off for a minute. I'm fine. This is the insert for the nasopharyngeal swabs. that we were forced to take as nurses. And also I worked for the RCMP as well as Kurt, right? We were forced every morning to do this, to jam this thing this far deep into our fucking brains, excuse my language, but yeah. And take a screenshot of the serial number to show if we were negative or positive. It's all a lie. So yeah, you'll see my sticky note here, right? I don't know if you can read that. 2 places highlight the dangers of the swab, and no 2 sites operators were minimally trained. So here's, I don't know. I'm going to just show this. I know it's reverse, but I just want you to see that I'm actually going to read this to you because it's very serious what I highlighted. And I know you can't really see it. There it is. But it's backwards. I know, I'm sorry. But I'm going to read it to you because this is the actual huge insert. It says, if I can see it, I'm old.
I don't think it was backwards either.
Oh, you could read it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys have to see this.
Yep.
Okay.
Just pause. Anyone watching, just pause it and read it.
Tell me if I'm in the screen with the fluorescent, with the highlight, wherever the highlight is. Can you see that? Okay, wait, I'll get bigger. How's that? Is that better? Can you see that? Sorry, I'm trying to stay still, but I shake a lot. Okay, so what it says is this device contains material of animal origin and should be handled as a potential biohazard. Do not use if pouch is damaged or open. I had to read this because it's so tiny, right? Who's going to look for this stuff? And then the next thing I found, basically, they don't really give you a lot of information. Here's the next one. If you want to screenshot that one, there's my next highlighted. Look at that. Wait till you read that if you actually read it properly. Hopefully people can screenshot that. I have all this in my lawyer's banker box, but he didn't care. He just wanted my money. $1,000 a day e-transferred and did nothing for me and just basically treated me like shit, but took my money. Anyway, and I sent all this to help his case with Sean Hartman too, because we had the same lawyer. Anyway, this says the performance of the rapid response COVID-19 antigen rapid test device was established with 82 direct nasopharyngeal swabs. 82. Only 82 people were tested on this device. 82 in the entire world. Like, really? So I'm getting a little angry here. It just makes me so mad because we know we were being poisoned that way too. 82 direct nasopharyngeal swabs collected and enrolled from individual symptomatic patients who were suspected of COVID-19, not even confirmed, just suspected. Samples were freshly collected from 2 sites in the entire world. Yeah, 2 sites. 2 sites where the operations were minimally trained. It's in black and white, minimally trained. 46 positive specimens and 36 negative specimens were confirmed by the RSM-PCR. There you go. That it just goes on. The criminal acts continue forever. It's just, and I don't know anyone talking about this. And I'm like trying, but I'm probably gonna get myself murdered at this point. But I'm glad I got this. Thank you for letting me say that. I have so much. Thank you. I know this is your last show and I don't want to be really dramatic, but I'm being honest. Like, it's really, this is how angry I am. Like Michael is, like you are, your children died. My kids are poisoned. I'm poisoned. I'm done. Like, I'm not done. I'll never be done. I'm going to look up from heaven and go, baby, we're all holding hands together and our energies are going to come together and we're going to protect our children, even if we go over there. That's how I feel. Right. And Michael, I hope you get your child back. I hope you get to see her soon. It breaks my heart. I can't even, I'm sorry. I just totally ran over at the space again.
I think that a lot of us we all have a story that can make you cry. And that's what I've seen. Like some people hide it, are able to conceal that pain. And some people can't, and some people are overwhelmed by the pain and just snap. But luckily, I believe God, is behind every podcast I did. I really do. I see God as participatory, like facilitating our ability to live, to talk, to speak, to eat, to love. I think God is participating in all these things. And when I was 16, I was on like most 16-year-olds, on a self-destructive path. I was my own worst enemy, which is, in learning to love our enemy, we have to start with the mirror, and then we move outwards from there. And once we can love our enemy, then we can eliminate that fear, because they are scary people. Let's be honest. If I was popular, I probably wouldn't be here.
He's so
I know that. I know
evil.
if we get too loud, we get silenced. And so we have an opportunity to be archived, for our stories to be archived, and for future generations to be able to see what happened to us at this moment, from 2020 to 2025. I've seen the worst crime. Even 9/11 was a crime against humanity, because it was used to violate the Constitution of the Republic of the United States with the Patriot Act, to basically spy on everybody in any country, no matter where they live, violating international privacy laws. And just NSA was given full reign to, with the help of Mossad, and Israel's Mossad took over the Pentagon, where all the $2.3 trillion went missing, and all the cameras suddenly went off, just like Jeffrey.
Oopsie.
All the cameras went off. So these guys are in charge. They're still in charge. They've always been in charge. They own an island in Antarctica where we can't go. The Rothschilds, the Black Rocks. Now BlackRock, that is like where the devil brought Jesus to say, look, because you can see all the continents on the plane. Now, I'm not a flat earther. I'm a plane earther, because that's really how it's described. And there's really no conflicting evidence in any of the different religions that I've looked at. And, I only look at religion because I'm fascinated the fact that some geographical area of this earth might have some hidden information that could just bring it all together for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's just loving being a part of creation, and I believe God is a part of all of the creation. He's very participatory. He's not absent. And I don't even think it's a he or a she. I can't even fathom that a sex is involved in this situation, because like water is like the Gita, the Buddhism, Hinduism. Water is one of the material forms of God, which makes perfect sense. Without water, we wouldn't be able to live, and that would be life-giving. So that would be a part of the Creator's participant. We're mostly water in our body, so that explains, Joshua, where it says, the kingdom of heaven is within us. So I mean, if God is water, then certainly we're mostly water. So God is like definitely inside of us. So I mean, the beautiful thing about Buddhism is it brought all the different religions and the beautiful, most like a bouquet of roses, when it came to my search for the truth. But being the last show, I want to know. I wish I could say there's remedy for you, Michael and Tanya. That we're able to recapture and have the public oversight that's required to have an honest system that's protecting us. We want to be protected. We want to be able to protect those that we love. Doesn't it's not just children. It's our family. It's our brothers, our sisters.
Yeah.
It extends to the community. That's why why couldn't we have a coup with the Amish?
Yeah, that's a
I
good
mean, the
point.
Amish
That's a good
is
point.
like a beautiful example. There's no autism in the Amish community. Why is that? Why can't we ask that? Why can't we bring that up forward? How many children of mine do I have? How many children have to die to bring this to the forefront? To say perhaps this isn't good. Perhaps you shouldn't inject pregnant women. You know, I I won't let them steal another baby. I just don't date. I don't want to date. I'm single and I'm what's that word? Where you don't have any fun. Whatever the word
When
is.
you don't have, I know what that word is. I do it, but I don't know the word either. It's a bad word to say. What's that called?
So
I don't even remember it. I think I've blocked it. I think I blocked the whole thing.
yes, Brian. I want to thank Cleo and Kirk and Brian and all these people that are listening. It means a lot. Barrett, who's had me on his show, Kim, Cleo. And, I appreciate all of you as well because I know that God brought us here. There's no other reason. God is a life giving. So it's not about being religious. It's just about accepting who you are. You're important. Even if you don't feel important, you really are. You're important to somebody.
Yeah, we all are. Absolutely.
You said something. I don't disagree with anything you've said tonight, but in my opinion, I'm not disagreeing with your feelings. And I'm so sorry that you went through that at 16, but we all go through these horrific things. My son also tried to commit suicide on Ativan, on the Ativan that I was given when I was told I was having panic attack when I was having a heart attack from the shots. And then I had this bottle of Ativan that I didn't need because I was not having a panic attack. And he tried to kill himself. So I relate to you on a very serious emotional level. It like made me just cry, and I'm trying not to because I found him on the floor too, and he took the whole bottle. And I'm like, I didn't think in a million years he was that depressed. And he was 16.
Thank you, Cleo. It's celibate.
Oh,
That's the word I was
celibate.
looking
We're
for.
all celibate. Amen. We're all
So
celibate.
why does celibate have to sound like celebrate? Well, who's celebrating here? No, there's no celebration.
No, but what I love that. But I wanted to say, you say you love.
It's like the bad
You love
relationship is like every time my girlfriend had an orgasm, she'd punch me in the face, and then I found out she was faking her orgasm. I mean, that's like our relationship with our government.
That's true. That's
It's like we've
absolutely.
been betrayed, and
Yeah.
there's nobody. Where's the security? Security round these people up. They've committed a crime. It's obvious. It's open in our face. They're spraying it right from the skies. Why? Why isn't it
The
stopping?
government
Has-
is a fake orgasm, spraying it in our faces. That was you just said that. Just clarifying. You just,
but
I
you
want
know,
to say though, you
I
said you had to love.
I was hoping.
Love the enemy, but I disagree. I'm going to disagree with you for the first. I don't disagree with anyone, but I cannot love the enemy. I have suffered so deeply, and I think all of us have on three totally different levels. Kirk was here, man, oh my God, so many people are suffering and don't even know they're suffering, or they're losing a loved one and don't even know still to this day that it's that reason. But what I want to say is I like to understand the enemy. I will never love them. I will never open my heart to that pain and the destruction that they actually physically did to my heart, killing all my heart cells, killing every organ in my body. I love that you have that forgiveness. I don't. I am still at not a good place where I will not forgive them, and I will never forget. However, I want to learn their end game. I want to educate myself on how evil they are so that I can turn it around and learn how to turn this around for us. That's my goal. That's how I'll end mine. I'm going to say, I just want you guys to know I'm never going to quit. And I'm nobody. I'm just a nurse that doesn't work anymore and who's, has 6 months left to live apparently, but who cares? I will never quit. I'm going to learn the end game from these enemies, and I'm going to research the heck out of them. And yeah, I might get myself injured in the process, not doing anything.
Yeah.
But I will never love them. I will love you. I put all my energy and love into you and Michael and the Kirk and Kyle and all my kids. And that's where my love belongs. But my energy, my love goes to them. My energy is going to be using reverse psychology and figuring out how we get around this for Michael. What is Nuremberg? I got more information for you right now. When I was speaking, Michael, I've got so many texts right now explaining if it helps your case. That's why I want to live. I want to live to help you. I can't help myself, but I'm going to try my best. And I'm sorry, you brought a girl into the room. Not my problem. I talk a lot.
Thank you, Tanya.
Yeah. I mean, even though this is the last show, I want to do a show with Michael and his daughter, healthy and happy. I want to see you cured. I want you back healthy, jumping up and down. Yeah. That's what I want.
I'll have to buy a supportive bra. That costs a lot of money. So I'm going to have a gift send go for a supportive bra. If anyone wants to, I'll open one up for just a bra.
Saran wrap.
Oh, good idea, Michael.
No, but Michael, I'm serious. I want remedy for you. I want remedy for Tanya. I want remedy for all my guests.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone that I've had on the show has a story that can make you cry. And it matters to me.
Yeah.
Your daughter matters to me. I never even met her, and she matters to me.
Yeah. I don't think we're not gonna see remedy in the way I think, like I know God I don't know how to say it, but I think that the only time we're going to see remedy is when this all falls to pieces and it comes crumbling down. When the RCMP is disbanded and arrested, when the judges and the lawyers are, arrested and tried, that's when we'll see remedy. Until then, we won't. We're going to keep suffering, and there's nothing anybody can do about it except pray and ask God to help you cope, because that's all I can do is just cope. I can't make any ground against such an evil force, but God can. And when I think it's coming out, like even Trump now, being people coming down on him like he's not the hero, and JFK, people are really starting to wake up. It's just there's not enough of them, but hopefully, when I read about those 4 Canadian military guys who got arrested there, that was the first hope I've had in Canada in 10 years. To think that there's somebody out there who's planning on doing something gives me hope. I don't judge them. They got arrested with guns and had a plan to take down the government. Man, I would take down the government in a heartbeat if I had the means. I think anybody, most of us, all of us fighting and suffering, we all want to see the government fall. We don't want to vote for some other asshole who's going to lie to us and steal from us. Doesn't work. We need a righteous king. We need a leader who's righteous, who's out for the people and not for himself. Government doesn't work. It never has, and it never will. You look in the Bible when God said, you don't want a king. I'm telling you, you don't want, oh no, we want a king. We want a king. And they were all corrupt all through the Bible. And people were never given remedy. Never. And I don't know. I don't know what to say, but government is not the answer. It has to crumble.
No, it needs to be restructured like a new constitution that basically gives them their role and their rights. And as soon as they violate or try to breach that power, we should have public oversight and public ability to end that. I think the party system is a part of a game by the crown, the King Charles crown, and the Commonwealth is all under attack. All of the Commonwealth countries. France has not been a friend to Canada, and their hub is Quebec, and the reason why we have French in our parliament. That's the only reason. But you look at France and the Laurentian family in Canada, you see that they have harmed people throughout history. They've stolen the wealth of the Haitian people. They've pillaged the resources of that country, and it took 100 years for them to buy their freedom from France. And Mr. and Mrs. Macron of France are suing Candace Owens.
You mean Mr. and Mr., not Mr. and
That
Mrs.
that takes balls. But on that note, I want to thank you both for coming on the show, Tanya and Michael, on
Thank
the
you.
perhaps the last show.
Never say never.
Both for sharing your story and being courageous, because it takes courage to do what you've both done. It does take courage, but I mean,
Yeah.
a parent like Michael, we are willing to die for our children. I don't want my children to die, and I don't want your children to die. And I know that if they do die, it's no longer safe and effective. It is harm, and this is negligence, medical negligence,
Yeah.
and they should never be able to have that kind of power over others,
Yes.
because everyone is sacred. Your body is sacred, and your water should be clean and fresh and pure, and your food should be clean and natural. And all these things could happen if we were able to take the reins, because I think there are good people that could fix this. I think it's quite easy. Even education. We have mechanics, so we have people that can teach children to fix cars and discover who they're here for, what they're meant to be, what God put them here for. Let them explore every different trade and whatever they love and feel inclined to. Let them discover it earlier, and by the time they graduate high school, they can be they could be entrepreneurs. They could be prepared to work instead of having to go through future programs. Let them graduate with apprenticeships and be able to pursue being a nurse or a doctor. Make sure the doctors are taught natural remedies.
Yeah.
They're
Let
not
them
taught
just
that,
grow
eh?
up and be who they want to be.
Yeah, doctors aren't taught, the cures, ancient cures. I mean, native, like I'm Micmac. I'm part Micmac, so I
too.
embrace that. I love that. I'm
I
Micmac.
swear to God, I am too. That's so weird.
I know. We're
Oh my
brothers and
gosh.
sisters.
That's
So
crazy.
one day, like your great grandfather and my great grandmother snuck behind a bush. My grandpa had a little bit of beer, so he was a little bit of drinky.
And then my grandma hit him over the head with a
Yeah.
sledgehammer because we're a little bit aggressive and took him down and dragged him by his ankles behind the bush. Right? Mhm.
I did an ancestry, discovery, and it turned out I'm part Asian. So it turned out my great grandmother was a whore. Just kidding. So I wanna end a little silly, because what we are talking about is so serious, and it is important that we do smile. It's important that we laugh together, because that bond is more important than anything, because it makes us friends. It makes us, God's children. And we are God's children, and I wish after this year I would have had, solutions, because the intelligence is there. You know, it all makes sense to me, Tanya and Michael. It's all common sense to us. The remedies make sense. All it takes is, you know, a couple of people that, you know, that want the right thing to happen, the right thing. So we're in a war. There's no doubt about it. But we are together. We are a family. And even if we have to become Amish, so be it. We can build. We can build together. We can raise our children together. We
I
don't
will
have
remove
to
the feathers
tolerate.
and I will put the bonnet tonight.
We
Bonnet.
don't have to.
Maybe we
We
won't be
don't have
celibate
to
anymore.
suffer anymore. Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have to suffer anymore.
We don't have to suffer anymore.
Say
Get
no
rid
to
of divorce
celibacy.
lawyers.
Can't.
Yes,
Just say no.
but you know, Michael, I would love that we could have perhaps a future show where you and your daughter are together. You know, because you know, my heart breaks for you, brother. It really does. It breaks for Tanya too. I mean, my heart's broken on this show because it hurts.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
hurts watching everybody. I
and
think we all got broken hearts.
I want all this intelligence to be effective. I want it to work to benefit mankind. We're under attack, and it is on a spiritual level. But I do know that we weren't here to just sit and watch and talk about it. We're here to love. I know there's a power in that love, and there's a power in our daily lives that keeps us here, it keeps us alive. And I hope that we come back together with the whole thing turned around in our to our benefit. And thank you both for coming on the show. Thank you all for joining us at home. This was like an extended version of the truth table because there was no limits. Thank you, StreamYard, for offering me this tempting offer of premium for a week, allowing me to just not have any boundaries. And I appreciate you both. Thank you for coming on the truth table.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, honey. Love you both.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.